Hello and welcome to another Demitelon tutorial. We're going to have a very quick look at melodies in this video. I just keep getting asked, how do you start a melody? So I'm going to assume you have basic knowledge of understanding how chord sequences work, i.e. the scales that they relate to. So we're going to keep this very, very simple, and we're going to keep it on to a C. So just all the white notes. There's no black notes involved, and we'll just keep it that simple. Okay, so we're going to make a chord here. Alright, so standard stuff. I'm just going to make a nice little looping riff there. Okay, so we know that the scale is all white notes. So to keep it very simple, so I know that any of the white notes are going to fit in between there. Not necessarily right next to each other, not necessarily further apart. It's just you've got to kind of trial and error these things, because it's something that you can't be taught unless you're learning music theory. Okay, so just to demonstrate, I'll build on top of this. We'll duplicate that so we've got an original copy. So when we're looking at this, let's just get back there. When we're looking at this, we need to see a pattern starting to form. So I'm going to split this up here. This is the root note, which is the original note of the chord, usually always the bottom note. So in this case it's C. So I'm going to drop that an octave so it becomes a bass, so I can start developing some sort of melodic idea, and that'll help me build the rest of the track later. So we now have this. Okay, so then to start developing ideas, I'll build a melody on the next octave up. So we've got an E and a G, E and G. So just for reference there, we're going to have these playing some sort of smaller rhythm. Oh, we're not using black notes, sorry. So we're going to have that there. Then we're going to repeat that same melody onto the A here. Okay, so let's just have a little listen to that. Okay, so I'm going to drop that down to a G because it sounds a little bit out of place. So I start to develop an idea. It's not the best thing in the world, but this is where we can start building some new ideas, i.e. when we get to this second chord, we could change this chord. So if we transpose the C back up, so we have our C chord there. Now we know we're using the white notes, so let's drop down to a note that's already in this. So let's go down to a G, because that's the top note. No particular reason why. As long as all these notes are on white notes, we're fine to go. And then all we're going to do is transpose that back down one octave. Okay. And that's as simple as it gets. You don't have to move any notes, you just transpose the notes to that particular one. And to demonstrate that again, if we move this over here, so we've gone down to a G, and then I'd like to rise back up, so we're going to go to an A, and now we've hit a black note there, so just drop that one octave to keep that same pattern of one white note, miss one, one white note. So we got there, miss one there, and let's just have a listen to that. Okay, and then you might even recognize this chord progression. It's very common amongst most music. We're going to do the same again, and I'm just going to drop that down to an F. So we've got the A and the G, we're keeping the same thing, and the melody is just repeating every 2 bars. So now we have this. Okay, so let's just transpose the entire thing up 1 octave so it sounds a bit neater. So there is the second part, so the idea is starting to form, so I've copied that, move it over. Now I would probably start messing around with things on the lower end, because you can copy these out of these initial ideas, if you know what I mean, later on into the correct locations, like this would be in the bass. Let's just move that over there, that to there, that to there, and that to there. So now we'll have a nice running melody. So that's one idea that you could do. If we just undo that, I'm just thinking there's going to be an easy way to progress with this. Let's go in here. I'm just going to turn the volume down for you guys. And as you can hear, it sounds all melodic, it sounds in key, it doesn't sound off, and it's because we're not guessing what the notes are, we can just transpose them about to create the chords. So to create a different chord sequence, this is exactly the same, this one, so we'll use this copy. We'll create a different chord sequence, so we're starting on the same chord, and we'll go down to F on that one, and we'll go up to G on that one, and as you can see we've hit a sharp there, so we want white space white, and there we are. And then we'll transpose that up to A, and we want a white space white again, so transpose that down, and this is what the new one will sound like. So it's not as pretty as the other one. I obviously have some idea of where things could go nicely. So if we move this down to E, so okay, and then we'll have the F there, and then we'll have the A there. So you can create a whole different array of sounds just using the same things by just transposing them. As you can see, that's hit a sharp, so just knock it down. Okay, so you can hear that sounds a bit out of place, so maybe you can start then messing around with moving it in, but then you're going to have to start understanding new things. Okay, so it's not sounding great, but you would use different keys for stuff like this. We could even start on a different chord altogether. We could start on a G, and we could make our way up to a C there. So there is kind of a whole idea generated just from moving notes around without actually really doing anything. We've kept the same positions, and where it would get a little bit more interesting is if we delete that one there, because we don't want to know that again. We've gone back to the original chord sequence here. Now, what we could do is add some more notes in. So we've obviously transposed that bass note down there, because obviously originally, if we transpose it back to where it was, that's where they were originally, and we just created a bass there. So we could transpose that above as an example. So now we have 3 notes in the top, but we have this bass line following right in the middle of the melodic bit that we've put here and the chord sequence here. And if we remove that, put it back, so it adds an extra layer of harmonic and doubles up what the bass line is doing, and it can sound nice. Then from there you can have what we call open chords, and I use this a lot. So if you can see that the melodic line is here, those top notes, and we've just added this top line of each chord here, in here, and here. Now if we delete the middle lines, so what we need to do is create the original chord. Okay, so that's the original chord there, those 3 notes, and then those 3, and then those 3, and then those 3. So each of the middle ones, so the E there, the B, the C, and the A, delete them. You've now got open chords, and now you can start weaving other sounds in between later on in composition. So if you're creating another synth that's going to play the same line, but you want that extra line in there, you can start adding other sounds in between this sound just for that line, and you can double things up and stuff like that. So it starts to let you add things into the mix, and open air chords are very nice for creating emotion. I know the chords are the emotion, but having them kind of thinned out and then coming in full later on really helps to generate the sound a little bit better and build the track as it goes along. So that's another way that you can approach making melodies, chord structures and patterns, etc. Obviously we've just used one particular rhythm there. You can use anything you want. We could start splitting these into arpeggios, so we'll look at them in other videos. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.